Okay, here we are. I am still on vacation, have not had the chance to really come out and film a whole heck of a lot of videos like I hoped I would. In the original thought process here, thought I was going to be able to make like a video a night, and realistically speaking, that's probably not too far out of the realm of possibilities, but there's like so much going on every night, and we're doing a lot of family stuff, and it's been a good time. But by the time we all wind down for the night, it's like 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. The last time that I got out here to film something with you guys, it was like 1 in the morning, and I just ran out here real quick to go film something so that I could get some cool rain footage while I was talking, and then all the other nights have kind of just flown away from me. But essentially, this is the second to last night, so tomorrow night's the actual last night. And just, as always, going through the interesting conversations and interesting things that have come up in my life and in my mind as we sit down and explore things and talk about things. And like right now, the biggest thing was, of course, like Disney World. So Disney World was a huge reason of why we went out and took this vacation, a large portion of why we're out here and doing this and doing that for the kids. And like, as a creator myself, I can appreciate Disney World in a bit of a different sense, in that like Walt Disney was essentially just an animator who started out animating things and animating characters, and then his characters picked up traction and became this big, huge, larger than life thing. And just like wrapping my head around the concept that is Disney and where it started versus where it is today. And so really just trying to figure out like how, not necessarily how, but just wrap my head around the successes that he has had. And so like essentially, like I said, he started out as an animator. He made Steamboat Willie. I'm sure he animated a whole bunch of other stuff on top of that. But to go from this animator to this company conglomerate worldwide success is just an unprecedented success story. And like myself as a creator, I like to try and strive towards, like, for me, just like creating a character who's instantly recognizable, whether that be like a Scooby-Doo kind of character where like anybody who's at everybody can see Scooby-Doo and instantly know who it is. They'd be like, yeah, that's Scooby-Doo, that's the Doo. And like for me, that's like a huge goal, like to be able to create characters like that who are instantly recognizable and who the whole world knows like who these people are. I'm gonna check my audio cable real quick because it has a tendency to get dislodged from its little port. It looks to be doing fine, and it seemed to be reading fine, but I wanted to make sure that I wasn't filming all this and talking all this stuff and not really getting anywhere with it. But at any rate, so yeah, trying to create like an iconic character, a character that's instantly recognizable, that generations upon generations of people can interact with and have special moments with. And Disney is such a property that it has a multitude of those. Like there's multiple characters that Disney has produced that a large portion of the world can like see and recognize and know exactly who you're talking about. Like Mickey, of course, Minnie, Goofy, Donald, Nemo, Simba, Mufasa, the ninja lady who thought she was a boy or whatever, Mulan. That's who I'm trying to think of. And just so many characters that have that instant recognizability and are just such a powerful and impactful piece of culture. And like for most creators to just have one of those is insane, and that's really saying something. But for one creator to have such a monopoly on the market, if you will, is just it's admirable. I personally am not a Disney fan. I do not agree with a lot of their business practices and a lot of the stories that they choose to tell or the motives by which they tell them. But I can't help but, as a creator, stand back and really appreciate and enjoy the things that Disney is providing, and respect the things that Disney has accomplished. The park itself, I must say, was a bit underwhelming. Obviously, as an adult, well, for the most part, like an adult in my situation, you go there more for the kids than you go for yourself. And so for me, like, I was really expecting, like, this over-the-top excitement level from, like, the kids, and that's not, like, what I got. Like, they had a good time, sure, but it wasn't this, like, oh my gosh, it's Disney World, which was what I was expecting. And maybe my expectations are too high. Maybe I don't understand the excitement level of modern children. I am getting slowly but surely more and more disconnected from that realm of things. But it also didn't feel particularly like it was some really exciting thing that they were just dying to interact with either. And that was the biggest disappointment for me. But it also was just like, kind of what's the point, if you will. So like, you pay, it was $170 for a single person, and you walk this park for however long you can stand to walk it, and you see all the sights that it has to offer, and you do all the things, but like, most everything else that's worth doing in the park costs money. Like, the cover charge really only gets you on rides, and even then, most every ride has a several minute long wait time. Like, there was no wait time less than 20 minutes, but those were like the rare ones. Most of them were 60 to 90 minute wait times. And it's like, you go to this park, and even if you get there when it opens at 8 o'clock, and you stay there till it closes at like 11, which is, I don't know, is that 16 hours? It's some stupid amount of time. You probably can only get so many rides in because of all the amount of time you spend waiting in lines. And that's just a bizarre thing as well, in that, like, amusement park ride lines have almost created their own subculture, in that now, like, you have people who do the fast pass, but there's so many people out there doing the fast pass that they form their own lines. And so it's like, you have 10 people waiting in a fast pass line, and then you've got 60 people waiting in a standard line, and now the 60 people are like doomed to never get in because the fast pass people keep fast passing and creating their own lines, and now they have to wait in line. And it's just, it's bonkers to me, I don't even know, like, how to describe that, the culture, I guess, if you will. But, like, for me, it's not worth, and it's not fair for me to, like, try and judge it for its merit or for what it has to offer or anything like that, because, like, I know that amusement parks really aren't my scene. Like, if I were to be like, oh my gosh, just, I need to go somewhere or do something, that's not usually my top choice of something to go out and do. I like spending quality time with quality individuals, and so, like, my ideal vacation, if you will, would be to, like, go and visit my Xbox friends. That's always been a really good time. Or, like, go and visit friends who are out of state or whatever it might be. But, like, going and seeing attractions almost is never appealing to me. It's difficult because I'm a bit of a tightwad, and, like, I'm doing very well financially, so I don't have to be a tightwad, but I've always been very frugal and tight with my money, and that's part of the reason why I got where I am. And so it's difficult for me to be like, okay, let me just spend $170 here, and then now that I'm here, let me spend another $100 just doing stuff in the park, or buying food, or buying trinkets and gadgets. And that's the other kind of frustrating thing about it, is, like, a lot of their trinkets and gadgets are pretty darn cheap. Like, they had this Gaston, the buff guy from Beauty and the Beast, and he had his own little mug. He has his own tavern and all sorts of stuff, but he had his own little mug with a special brew in it or whatever. And so I bought the mug, and it was just a cheap little plastic thing made to look like it was made from wood. with some cheap little stickers on it of Gaston and his little buddy. Bonus points to anybody who can name Gaston's little buddy right-hand man thing. We were going all day at Disney trying to remember what that guy's name was, and none of us could come up with it. So if somebody else can come up with it, I'll give you a shout out or something. That was our conversation for the day. But really just kind of, it was just a cheap mug. And, like, that was my souvenir from Disney. Like, I wanted a souvenir from Disney, despite my stances of or against it. It's at least a souvenir of the family event that we had at Disney, if nothing else. And so, that's just, like, the thing of it. Like, you're paying a lot of money to get in, and then you pay a lot of money to get anything out of it. And the things that you're getting out aren't these, like, extraordinary things. Like, if I were in charge of, like, a Disney park or whatever it is, like, I would make the items there truly, like, magical. Like, you got these t-shirts that they want like $150 for, and it's just a t-shirt with Mickey Mouse on it. Like, it's not worth that much. It's not some magical fabric that's gonna, like, feel soft forever and always. It's just a branding deal. And so, like, my thought process on it was a bit jaded, admittedly so. I was not going into it with high hopes. I'm not a fan of Disney in the traditional sense, and so I was not walking into this like, oh my gosh, this is going to be great. But I was trying to still be open to the experience and make the most of it, given everything. And so it was really just an interesting experience. Like I said, can't help but really appreciate what Walt Disney has got going for him and the great things that he has accomplished. It's helped kind of put things in perspective for me, like how wild would it be if I were ever able to accomplish that? And like, even if I created a character that was this huge monumental character that's instantly recognizable, that people know who it is, like, to create an entire world or amusement park or so all of these things just based solely around my work isn't probably something I would even see in my lifetime. Like, I would lay the groundwork for it, and then someone would have to push that ball and keep it rolling. Like, I don't know when Walt Disney died, but I know he's been gone for a very long time, and his company or his organization, whatever you want to call it, continues to thrive, and like substantially so. So like, that's the unfortunate truth that a lot of creators have to face, is that like, you're creating the groundwork for something that will hopefully grow and be bigger lifetimes past your own, and you just hope that it doesn't lose its identity. But at the same time, like, after you've died, what does it really matter to you what identity it holds? Like, it holds a very sincere and I don't even know how I want to say it, sincere and legitimate and important meaning to you right now in your present tense, but you can't keep that going forever, and other people are going to have other visions of how your work should be interpreted or whatever. And so when it comes time to let it go, you just got to let it go and let it do its thing. But it still is an interesting thing to aim for. Like, my aim or my target's constantly moving, and it's constantly moving up. Like, at first the target was just to create something. I've created 4 somethings now. Now the target from there was to start to gain some sort of following, and I'm working on that presently speaking as I'm talking to you all right now. And then from there, the goal would be like create some maintained or sustained source of content that can be like absorbed more easily. Like, right now the goal or the dream is to create my own animation studio, and I feel like I'm just a couple key people away from that. Like, I myself would be the producer, director, I would fund the projects, and obviously I write the scripts. I have someone who does sound design, I've got someone who does music, and I just need to get my hands on an animator. I myself can do the voice acting. I've got several other voice acting talents who I've worked with who would help me out in the process as well. And so it's like, I'm this close to having it, and I've got all the pieces to the puzzle except for one. I'm working with animators present tense on what will at least be a pitch deck, some character designs, and hopefully a pilot episode. And then from there, I can take the work and pitch it to Netflix or whomever and try and get it to where it needs to be, but which obviously is a very exciting thing. It's a huge thing that I can like potentially be a part of, and like that's just another dream come true moment where you get to your pitch session and you're like, hey guys, I got this show that I think would be really cool, y'all should check it out. And they check it out, they give it the green thumb. Hopefully you get green thumb, that's probably not the right phrase, they give it a thumbs up, but hopefully you get to stay on and be like a writer or something. I would definitely want that to be a part of my contract. Like, it's hard to make deals when it's the first time signing it, but I would like to, at the very least, if nothing else, if I just sign my rights away to this work, I want to be cast as a character in the voice cast. Like, and that's what, whenever I say that, people are always like, oh, so you just want to have like a cameo or something. No, like I want to be a reoccurring character who shows up and has significance on the story, because that is just another leg up on the system. If my series were to blow up and become this big thing, and then people are like, wow, I really like his voice, I want to start working with him, then that just opens a whole other door for me to succeed through. And so that would be like the bare minimum thing that I would ask of them, is like, okay, can I at least voice this character so I can build my credibility in the voice acting world as well, and then just move from there. But yeah, so hopefully some really exciting stuff coming there, get some animations going and start getting that ball rolling in that direction. But as I said before, the goals are always a moving target. Like, even if I were to reach the goal of the animation studio, have that doing its thing and doing what I need it to be doing, and it's producing stuff and it's getting a good following, like, there is still the idea of what's next. Like, there will always be the idea of what's next. And like, I'm a huge fan and a huge party of these story-based games. I really enjoy those. Those are really fun. And I could see those being like the next step in my creative adventure, especially if I nail down like an animation team and we're like cranking out episodes and stuff. It's like, okay, now let's try our hands at creating a video game, a story-based game, and see how that goes. Having played As Dusk Falls really inspired me in that regards, because it's a simplistic game, but it's still a very powerful story. It's got some powerful performances in it, and it really hits home. And so for a game like that to be so simple and it just works so well, and I was like, I could do this. Like, there is no reason why I could not do this. In fact, I met with several people about trying to like make it happen and do it, and it hasn't like come to fruition yet. I feel like I've got a lot of like places to go before I get there, but it's still a very important and exciting thing to be a part of. And so we'll see where that takes me. We'll see where anything takes me. I'm thinking about getting more into real estate next year and buying another property and then just sitting on it until it's paid off, and then trying to build on it and then renting it out. And then if I can do that hopefully 3 times total, then I should be able to like step away from the working world and just do whatever the heck I want to do with my life. And that's one thing that I get out of events like this, is it's an immense amount of motivation. Like, obviously it's a much needed restart, it's a much needed time spent with family, and it's a great time spent, and I love every second of it and all, that's great. But it's also motivation. It's motivation, A, to get back to work, and when I'm at work, make sure that I'm doing the best possible work that I can, so that I can continue to enjoy these things that I enjoy. And then it's motivation B, to figure out my personal life in such a way that I can step away from work and have my time back. And I keep saying this, it's not that I'm miserable at work or that I hate what I do. It's not that at all. It's just I want to have my time back. And there's so few people in this world who have had their time and have been able to keep it. Like, what would be great, which is not feasible given my age, but what would be great is if I could get at least 2 properties up and rented out before I'm 30, which I'm like 28, very close to being 30 at this, or 28, very close to being 29 at this point. Like, I'm close to 30, but not that close quite yet. But at any rate, the goal would be then to pivot and transition into the whole family thing, And then from that point, I could just essentially work from home the first 5 years of my child's life, avoid daycare, and be able to actually like live with the child and raise them like a proper parent should, if you ask me. And then from there, I can return to the working life after they get back to school or whatever, but just live off of rental income. And like, who knows, maybe I do that and I decide like, oh, this is the best thing ever, I'm never going back to work. Who knows? I don't know. Right now what is challenging is because I'm making good money at work, it's very hard to just step away from that and just be done with it. And the reality of the situation, what I'd probably do is I'd probably ask my employer, like, okay, you can give me like an extremely reduced salary, but can I just work from home and do simple odds and end jobs for y'all while I stay at home and raise my child? Because that would be honestly the ideal way to go. But I've got a whole lot of stuff rolling around in my mind. I think I'm going to call it a night here. It's getting kind of chilly out, and I think it's been about 20 minutes, which is kind of the average that I have, but I've got ideas for writing a nonfiction book. We had some conversations in the car that was just motivated me and got my mind spinning in ways, and I was like, I really feel X, Y, and Z about these sorts of things, and I really feel like we could benefit from somebody sharing my perspective. And so we'll see what happens. I am hoping that tomorrow night I can get out here one more time and film one more video while I'm out here. Get another cool shot back here. I don't know how cool or not cool this is. I'm looking at it through my camera lens or through like the viewfinder screen, and it doesn't look awful. It looks like a pretty neat little scene, but that was just the biggest thing for me. It's like I've got to film at least one thing while I'm out here, because I've got to give you guys a variety of scenes. Like, I feel like you can only stare at my house and my car so much before you go a little stir crazy. And so hopefully the videos have continued to be awesome. Hopefully they will continue to be awesome. Hopefully you guys are having an awesome time and will continue to be awesome and support the platform, and hopefully that I'm creating videos that create value for you. Like, I watched the Dry Creek Wrangler School, and I feel like he's got some really good stuff that he says and some great stuff that he talks about, and I can hope that I can emulate some of that from my own unique perspective, and that you all find value in that. And yeah, it has been however long it has been. I'm out here on this back porch talking about successes and the future and how we will continue to impact this world, hopefully long after we're gone. And you all hopefully get vacations and stuff, enjoy the holidays, and yeah, it has been a wonderful night. Like I said, I hope to do this one more time with you all before we pack it up and call it a vacation. But until then, you all have a good one.